they're getting anything, you know. You can't tell though. Yeah. And some, the ones that gas bag, I think you can write them down. Half them, at least. Too, they only skite, a lot of them.
Now see, we're talking about people that won't talk now, Bob. Look at Tom Irwin and Snowy Brown at the 4 Mile.
Yeah.
Now, that old actor, old Tom was cunning.
Oh.
Wouldn't he bring the opal up in a bag and with his coat over the...
Well, we were working, they were all, like we were right alongside of them too, and no one ever saw anything, never heard that they were getting anything at all, see? And when they'd knock off in the afternoon, they'd come up out of the hole and they'd have the bag, a little bag of opal like that, see? And they'd have their coat over it, like that. And they'd walk over to the bikes and they'd put a bag on the bike, you know, a sugar bag for carrying things. He'd put the hand on the bar of the bike like that and he'd let the opal drop down into the bag, then he'd take the coat off. No one saw it.
That was cunning.
That was a good move. Never say a word and get on the bikes and ride home.
Right home.
Yeah.
No one knew they'd get anything for ages.
No, never knew they got anything. And they did get some good opal, I believe.
And that's my old grandfather, old Tom.
Put the Turner Act on.
Yeah, Turner Act,
Very similar.
Yeah.
The thing, Bob, that intrigues me when I look at a lot of the old photos here from Lightning Ridge in the early days is that the old fellas seemed to have waistcoats on and suit coats on, even working in them.
They did, yeah.
They actually did they?
Yeah, a lot of them did, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just
a lot of them had the bow yanks.
Yeah.
You know, the coal miners stuff.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them had them in the early days. Oh, yes, all of them had the bow yanks on.
Even during the summer, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Just a habit?
Yeah, habit. Yeah. Oh, yes.
But the race of the miner in those days, Bob, I think is far removed from the bloke today, isn't it?
Oh, different altogether.
The character.
Yeah, different altogether. Yeah.
Was you around, Bob, or was you away at the time when Hearts and Spices broke out over here?
No, we were here.
Oh,
you were here, weren't you?
Tell the story there.
That's an interesting place. As I drive past that all the time, I can sort of smell opal in that area.
Yeah, it's a funny thing now. It was lovely quality too, that opal.
Beautiful.
And just before I tell you what happened, all opal was got here, like there was not a fault in it. Beautiful face, every stone had face, beautiful. Spices, all riddled with sand.
A lot of it.
You'd cut a face and put them on the wheel and face them, and all pockmarked. Real murder.
Yeah.
Oh, look, thousands and thousands of pounds spoilt with bloody sand.
A little bit like some of the Canfield stuff.
Yeah, I remember George Cowan talking about it. He used to be buying them days. He said, make you cry.
Weren't the bars a lot thinner, Bob, than here? They were too over at Hudson Spike.
Oh, no, it was good. Fair depth of opal. Oh, lovely quality.
I know it was beautiful quality, that's for sure.
Well, tell you about now, we were working out at the 4 Mile, worked out there for years. Used to drive backwards and forwards north and sulky. And Arcady and I and Far, and we duffed out round the 4 Mile Orc's Nest and all that, see. And we said, that little place coming out here, you know, with the geezer blow running right across the road there, Spices. Far said, it'd be a good idea if we sank over there. He said, we'll take all the gear in, put the windlass and stand on the back of the sulky and put all the rest on, see. And we come into there to Spices, and we dropped all the gear just off the road where that geezer blow was, you know, you remember? And if we'd have sunk the hole there, we'd have bottomed on Spicer's patch. But we went down about 100 yards down towards Ryan Flat and sank a bloody hole. And it was the hardest bloody thing that ever I saw in my life. We left it 3 times. Anyway, it ended up a duffer, see? If we'd have sank where we dropped the tools, that was Spicer's.
That's where Spicer's come in and...
We were right on it.
Didn't you...
Wasn't to get
you
it.
had that pegged, and didn't you give that to Spicer? You said Far...
No, we didn't peg it.
Didn't you?
No.
I thought you had it pegged.
No, we went down about 100 yards.
Oh, I see.
But we dropped all the gear there.
Oh, the gear there.
It was a sort of a nice gravel top, smooth, away from the blow. And these geezers, they run right across the road. You had to go in and out of them like that, you remember? Well, if we'd have sank the hole there, right on
and
it.
That's where Spicer's patch
was. That was Spicer's, each side the road.
You were stiff?
George Lowe and someone else hotter than them, they were the other side, and they got opal. It was right across the road and under the road, opal. We're driving over it backwards and forwards for months and bloody months, year in, year out, and going out looking for it, and driving over it.
And wasn't it Otto and George Lowe that actually started that race?
I think they were. I think they were.
Roughly what year, Bob?
32, wasn't it?
I don't know, I think. Oh, no.
What you told me?
32.
32.
Oh, yes, Spices was.
Spices.
That's right, that's right. It was in the Depression.
Because Bert Spicer built the old George Graham's hut in
Yeah.
late 32, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the Depression years. Yeah, that's right, the dole was on. That's right, I was thinking of the 4 mile, Snowy Brown's 4 mile.
It just reminds me of a little bit of bad luck that you've had, like Con Malonis had, my next door neighbour. He started that hole where the red robin was.
Yeah?
He went away and left it. He went down about 3 feet. And Neville Bell come along sometime later. I wouldn't know exactly how much later, because Neville was camped those days out at McDonald's, see? And he come along and Neville told me I seen these red robins flitting around in the tree, and it was a beautiful morning. He said, this could be a lucky arm. There's a shaft already started. It was down 3 feet. Away he went and he bottomed right on it. Poor old Con, battling, still battling.
Ain't it
Still
funny?
going,
Walked away and left it.
Funny, ain't it?
Yeah,
Your
'cause it was-
name's got to be on it, mate.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
my
it's funny
belief,
thing.
yeah.
You don't seem to do the right thing, though.
Look,
I don't know.
But
Yeah.
yet if your name's on it, you'll do it.
Yeah,
you'll
oh
do the
yeah,
right thing.
I know.
Yeah.
Nothing will put you off.
No, that's right.
No.
Old Jack Burt went out to that 6 mile rush before the Red Robin back this side at the Shearers. And he sunk a hole off Macduff's there, where Macduff got the opal. And he bottomed in all that muddy, rubbishy, purpley looking dirt. And he walked away and left it. Well, he didn't quite bottom it, to be truthful. The holes around it was bottomed in that. And he said to Boucher and myself, he said, you can have that hole. So we went out there, and we only went about 3 feet, and we bottomed it. We also ended up in this rubbishy, purpley looking stuff, and we walked away and left it. And what do you think that Andy Macduff was getting his opal out? All this rubbishy, purpley dirt.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a funny thing with opal.
Yeah.
It's in lovely, good country, I mean, mostly in good, and then it's in this rubbish
In the
though.
rubbish. That's
Mm.
the shit.
It's a
Yeah.
funny thing. And then you'll get another place, lovely country and nothing.
You won't
Not
get-
even a bit of potch.
Not even a bit of grit.
You could
mate,
nearly
no.
eat the opal dirt,
Yeah.
yet there
I
wouldn't be
know.
a bit of pot.
I know, it's a
Yeah.
funny thing that, ain't it?
That is.
No wonder it puzzled them.
You can't predict it.
No, you
That's
can't.
for sure.
You don't know where it is. No.
Yes.
Looking at it, ain't that terrible? Heady foul mouth.
Bullshit. No, not me, mate.
Okay, we're on the air now.
You should have Emmy, mate, to describe them.
Oh, Christ.
That's the one you want.
Listen,
Yeah.
mate, now tell us about some of the early policemen. The one you was going to tell us
Well,
about.
I wasn't 18, see, and I was crank on billiards. I was always in the billiard rooms, watching them play and having a hit now and again. And I was playing old Frank Elliott's billiard room this night, just across from the pub. He was the first one here, I think. And this copper walked in, hat pulled down over his eyes, just looking under the brim like that. He said, are you 18 yet? I said, no, not quite. He said, put that cue in the rack.
Just billiards.
I thought, you're a nice bastard.
Who was this Craig Bob?
Grimes.
Oh, that
not
bastard.
Craig, he was good bloke.
I heard about
Grimes, this
yeah.
Grimes.
I've heard that.
He
of
was
him.
one of the worst here. Yeah. Put that cue in the rack.
Pull the hat down. Look under the hat.
He brave, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I thought, you ought to be knighted. Fair bloody dinkum, you should. You know, I mean, it takes a bit of courage to do
You
them
were
things.
doing a dangerous
My
act,
bloody
though,
oath,
if you were
my
playing
word.
villages at under
Oh, he
18.
was always after the young blokes in the town, though, trying to pin something on them.
Yeah.
Paltry bloody bastard.
Right.
No risk attached, see? Oh, he was a rotten coot. Catching kangaroos in close season.
Yeah?
All this
All this
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, sit up all night, watch you. we used to peg the skins out down in the scrub, and old Pung Ming used to come round, old hawker,
Yeah.
fruit and vegetables. Chinaman he was.
Mm.
He used to come round at night, he'd buy the skins off us.
Would he?
Yeah, I often thought, this bastard ever walks along, Pung Ming and us, we'll all go. But Thang used to buy them.
Did he?
Yeah, where do you want them, Thang? Oh, hey, put him up here.
Well, that's a businessman,
two and
mate.
6 a
Yeah.
pound. Yeah. You bundle them up and sell them to Thang. What weight in them, we'd tell him, see? And we could have cheated him too. But Thang used to buy them at night.
Would he?
Oh, you wish catch him with the dog. Well, this bastard always after us. What paltry fucking things. There you go again, see?
No, it's just natural. That's natural, Robert. And the other
Make-
blokes, Bob, who were the other ones?
Oh, there's another
Tell the
bloke.
one, Bob, with when the 3 blokes, I won't mention any names, Billy the blacksmith,
Oh,
and with taking the lid off the off
this
poor old
bloke I'm
Waddy
talking
Bird.
about.
Oh, that same bloke. Tell
He stepped over the
the
screwdriver.
people that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they used to rob the pub every night, the till. Waddy Bors was in the pub at the time. Molly Darby will know all this.
No.
She worked in the store for him, see? When she comes up, I'll bring this up to her. and Watty was deaf, and he got crippled at the 3 Mile. A bucket of dirt fell on him, hurt his hip, and he used to drag one leg, see? And his wife would be out visiting somewhere, and Watty was deaf, and these blokes, they knew all this. Every night they'd take that door off the cellar, off the hinges with a screwdriver, go down the cellar and come up into the bar, see, and milk the till. 3 of them there was. And one bloke he had a block of land, he was a squatter here, lived just out of town, see.
Nice.
And between the pub and the billiard room, they'd walk over and have a game of billiards, they would, and back to the pub and have a beer or two, see. And this bloke, all his threepence and sixpence, he'd sing out to the kids, "Yes, throw 'em up in there, they'll come out of Watty Bors's till," see. They'd say, "Boy, geez, that bloke's, ain't he free with his money?"
Generous bloke.
He's a lovely man, he is. Thieving bastards used to get out of poor bloody Watty's till. This went on every night, they'd take her off. And one night, old Billy's taken her off. He was the blacksmith, see? And he heard footsteps. He knew the footsteps. They rang a bell with him, see? The walk, slow walk. He dropped the screwdriver, and them days they had a pea house right up in the corner up the footpath, see, in the pub yard.
That, yeah.
And Billy walked up to the piss house, and he looked back and watched this bloke. He stepped right over the screwdriver that way, walking slowly, and then he walked back over the screwdriver again. He had a look round like this and walked back to the police station. And when he was gone, up past the old hall that was on the corner, Billy come back and still took the door off.
Took the door off her.
Yeah.
They're game buggers.
They were.
And this was Grimes, Bob.
Yeah, now that'll tell you how smart he was.
Yeah.
You couldn't catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody dickhead,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah, old Bill come back and he picked the screwdriver up, he took a couple of screws out and he lifted her off again.
They must have got caught in the end.
No, they didn't.
Never caught.
No, bloody fair they didn't. No. What bloody tricks though.
And another one I want to get on tape too, Bob, the one of Jack Holden's robbery.
Oh
Now
yeah.
the bullshit, I won't mention the old fella's name, I don't want to upset the old fella. That's old, he lives in the main street. He told some bloody erratic story about Holden's robbery. Tell the true one about this bloke connived his way into the bloody tent and went down to play billiards.
Yeah, this was the same gang.
Same
Same
crew
gang,
as robbed the
same
pub.
crew. Yeah. He lived out of town, see, and he come in, and old Jack wouldn't suspect him or anything, see. He said, "They tell me old Jack Holden was a bugger to play billiards. He liked billiards,
yeah.
see. He'd play all night, if anyone play with him. And he said, they tell me, Jack, you got a good parcel of opal." He said, I've never saw any good opal. And he did get a good parcel out here, back at the 3 Mile, see, Holden's Rush, got that name today. And old Jack says, yes, he said, he said, "Do you want to see it?" Oh, Al said, "I'd love to see it." And he took him up to the hut. He lived up just where Joycey Bowles used to live there, you know, in an old tin hut, just about that locality there, see. And all he had on the door was a bit of wire. Lift the wire up over a nail and go in, see. No locks or nothing. Took row in and pulled the trunk out from under the bunk, and had a bloody, good parcel, I reckon.
Good opal, Bob.
Yeah, good opal, good parcel. He said, that's row, this bloke said, "Hey, Christ, that's lovely, ain't it, see?" Oh, he said, "That's very nice of you, Jack, to show me that." He said, "Now we'll go back," he said, "and I'll give you a game of billiards." And he told the 2 Confederates, they were waiting in the shadow, see, what they had to do. It was a kid could have done it, see.
Yeah.
Well, he started old Jack playing billiards and kept him there.
That's right.
And they went up the back lane and lifted the wire off the nail and just pulled the trunk out and away they went. And I believe it was pretty good. I've heard a lot of yarns after.
What, about 1920, 21, Bob?
Something around that. They had, one of the blokes used to live there where Simon's is, where we lived after. The old place there, it used to be a cool drink shop.
Right.
And there was a bough shed out the back. And this bloke, he had one bag of opal just thrown up on the top of the bush shed, see? And Artie one day, he was down there and he wasn't looking for opal, he was looking for bloody marbles. And he was up on top of the bough shed and he saw this bag and he reckoned he thought it'd be a bag of marbles, see? Picked her up like that, and like a porridge bag half full. And he gave her, and just as he's getting down off the shed, the missus come out and she had doing a bit of sweeping and she had the broom around. She said, "Get out of that, you bloody coot," and threw the broom at him. Well, he dropped the bag and jumped down off the shed. He'd had the bloody lot.
She knew what was in him too.
She knew?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, but Artie thought it was marbles.
Marbles.
And he dropped the bloody bag. If he'd have kept the bag in his hand, because she'd have been after him yet.
Oh, kill him.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was one lot. They had it planted everywhere, I
All over
believe.
the place.
Old Billy Bavang, he bought pianolas and Christ knows what. His daughter learned to play the piano, and the copper bloke, he wondered where he was getting all the money.
Money from.
They only had suspicion, but nothing else.
Nothing proved.
Never got him. No. I tell you, he used to do some funny things here. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Who were some other bad coppers that we get onto there, Bob?
Well, Cartwright was another bloke,
Was he?
another bad bloke. Shot himself after he left here.
When was
What era? In that era.
In that era?
Mm.
Bad Bob?
Oh, and didn't he look it?
Did he?
Oh, always had the cap down like that and look under it like that.
They're the worst.
Never look at you and walk with his hand behind his back.
Did he?
Shot himself after he left here, I believe.
Eh?
Committed suicide.
Too much pressure.
Mm. I thought best thing could have done. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
well, there've been some bad ones and good ones. But Jim Craig, he was a good one. He was here in the
Was he?
Depression.
Was he?
Yeah, nice bloke, Jim Craig. Yeah. A policeman, you know, but not this paltry stuff, though. Trying to fit you for pinching
Yeah.
a bloody bag of lollies
Poor
or something
bloke,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
He done his duty where needed.
Yeah, when needed, yeah. Very nice bloke he was, Craig. He used to live there where you
What
are.
was Georgie
Did he?
Cox like?
Yeah.
Well, that's not
Old
one
George,
cop.
he was all right too, Len.
Was he?
Oh, yeah, old George was all right, yeah. He never come up, nothing like the other blokes there that were here. That Grimes, though, he was the worst I saw. He was a rotten
Well, here
bloke.
we are,
Give you a
down on
bit
the
of
3 Mile
Menzies.
Flat now.
Yeah.
Today's the 2nd of March 1983. And we've got Bob and the two boys here, and what a windy day. But anyway, we're down here on the Old Town area where it started. We're going to hand over to you, Bob. You sure must be able to remember a bit about this shanty town.
Is this the beginning of the
The,
town, Bob, coming in?
Yeah, this is the lead into Nettleton Street, as they called it. The Nettleton Post Office, just round the corner.
What
And
does it look like, the town here, Bob?
what did it look like?
Yeah.
Under a tree. Wouldn't be
Well,
many dumps there, Bob, would there?
well, there were nothing like this. This is all I saw now. But there were a lot of all the dumps, but they're all as the way the miners left them. See, all natural. But this is a big earthquake hit the place. Look at it.
Would there
Yeah.
be more trees though, Bob, or the same?
No, oh no, there'd be a lot of. There'd be something like it is now,
Now.
but only they're smaller, a lot of them.
And
but,
what was the first place you would have seen coming into the street? What, the post office, would it, or would there be buildings
Oh,
before that?
No, well, no buildings, only camps,
And what I mean, camps?
mostly tents,
Yeah.
tents and bark huts.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
3 Mile. That was the general run of the things they lived in.
Well, if this is the main drag, where would the first camp or bark hut have been?
Oh well, anywhere from here. But, I mean, there was so much scrub.
Yeah.
They were all through the scrub, and any distance away you wouldn't see them.
Good to see it.
You'd have to. They were scattered everywhere over a big area.
Yeah.
See, from here all down round to the left here. There was camps all through here, all through the scrub, like right down towards Waterford.
Yeah.
And you'd see them coming out like ants nests in the morning,
every morning,
making
right.
out to work on the gully and the 3 Mile Hill.
Oh,
See?
yeah. That,
And
that was the main run, Bob, up here.
yeah. This was all done first. So they went right up to here.
Oh, this
is
was all
where
work first, was it?
yeah, this is where it started. They
Oh,
call the
yeah.
3 Mile Flat.
Uh-huh.
Well, it went straight all up here, and
Uh-huh.
then the gully. Good morning.
Go, lady.
And
Hey,
then
what
up,
do you,
We're doing an interview, love. We're doing a... Yeah, go on, Bob.
and up to 3 Mile Hill. So it was one continuation
Oh,
of
yeah.
workers all the way. Yeah. About 3,000 men.
3,000, eh?
There was
And you say Dad always said over the years, Bob, there was about 1,500 witnesses rolling the
yeah,
in its prime.
that's true. 1,500 windlasses, yeah. Well, there'd be 2 to each claim,
That's
at
right.
least.
That's
Well, you
right.
could put them down 3,000 miners.
And where have they got their water from?
Well, from the government
Government
tank, up down out here.
And the
So-
old mine shafts. I
Yeah, a
suppose.
bloke named Stubbs used to cut the water,
Oh,
sell a
yeah.
penny bucket.
Uh-huh.
He had 2 big iron you know, big iron tanks,
Oh, yeah.
200 gallons, 400 gallons, something like that. And used to cart it down to a little place there this side of where Bill Waterwood is, on the ridge there, and deal it out, penny a bucket.
Penny a bucket.
And then when they get a lot of oil sunk, see, in the first heavy rain, well, they made a lot of their own water oils, see?
And the water never affected them, Bob?
Never. I
Aye.
never heard of it killing anyone.
How do you compare it with the bore water today?
It'd be 100% better or more.
Yeah, I'd go along with that.
Yeah, it was fresh water,
Yeah,
see?
that's right.
Yeah. Well, I never heard of it hurting anyone.
Well, they lived to good ages, didn't they, sinking the holes?
Yeah. Where?
And the shops in the town, Bob, there was the post office, and there'd have been, what, 4 or 5 general stores?
Oh yeah, there were at least 5 stores here.
Who were they?
Five.
Offhand, can you think of those?
Oh yeah, there were Waddy Vors was here around the corner.
What did he have, the post office?
He had the post office and store.
And store.
Then there was Dorrington's
That's right.
and a butcher shop there. They
Who
used
had
to
the
come
butcher
down
shop?
from the town, Prentice.
Oh, that's right, Prentice.
Yeah. Dorrington's and Boyle's, another shop. They had mostly drapery.
Who bought Boyle's?
Boyle, plain name Boyle.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was Hawkins' store.
That's right. Well,
It was a big store. And
there you go. Hawkins, that's right. Oh, the photograph of that is in the book.
Yeah, Hannah Hawkins.
Store, Hannah Hawkins.
yeah,
Now that was the time, just briefly, Bob, the time that this Sergeant Burke come down here when poor old Anna was supposed to be in 7 Sly grog.
yeah.
What did he smash the grog or something on the wood?
Yeah, broke a piece of whiskey up and something else, I believe, on the woody.
On the wood heap.
Mm.
Poor old Anna trying to make a quid, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether there was any court over it, but he was a very vicious bloke.
What year would that have been, Bob? About 10?
Or somewhere around that, yeah. I mean, sly grog, and she was only helping the miners. Anyone likes to drink when they're working like
Yeah.
that.
Well, naturally.
But they bunged the law in them days, though, too.
Too hard.
Yeah.
Could you describe what her Sly grog shop looked like?
Oh, really nothing, Ted. You wouldn't know it was there, at least, Len. Wouldn't know it was there.
Wasn't it the back of the old shop, Bob, or something?
Yeah, well, she'd have it there. She used to bake bread, too.
That's right.
Had a big old square tank, like cut out and covered over, formed a oven.
Oh, yeah.
And she used to do a good job.
Good job.
Bake bread and cakes, and we used to cook. I remember cook cakes in herrings, tomato sauce tins
Oh, yeah.
for the dish, you see,
Uh-huh.
and sell them to the miners, 6pence each.
6pence each.
Mm.
And how much you sell a loaf of bread for?
Oh, 3pence.
3pence a loaf.
3pence.
Pound and a half loaf, Bob.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Right.
3pence a loaf of bread. Poor old Anna, she slaved there for years.
Yeah, they reckon she is.
Yeah, she had 2 girls, Hilda and Babe.
That's right. It was Hilda that sent me the
You
photo.
met Hilda was up here, wasn't
Yeah.
she? Yes, they were the good old days.
And the other stores, Bob, who else sold bread? Was there anyone else but
No,
her?
no, only her.
Only her.
No.
Now, what about Mrs. Cowan? Didn't she have a hops and ginger
Yeah,
beer shop? Or?
yeah, she was in the centre up here.
Uh-huh.
And then the Dorringtons, I've mentioned them.
You mentioned Dorrington,
They had a
right,
big
yeah.
What did
store.
Dorrington's store look like?
Oh, big barn, Len. A big barn and a veranda. It was either boughs or bark, like Hawkins's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, real early day turnout, you know.
Yeah, it would be.
There's
all
nothing
round.
flash about the stores.
Did they have a board floor or a dirt
Oh
floor?
no, dirt
Dirt floor.
and bags on it.
Yeah.
Put bags down and
Try and lay the
water them and all that.
Yeah.
Card rooms,
Yeah.
all that. Oh yeah.
That's right. Dorrington had the card room, Bob, didn't he?
Dorrington's and Hawkins's too.
Did they?
They had a card room too, yeah. And the card room, it was boarded with cases. They got the supplies in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Some bloke there, she always had a few offsiders on. They had gas lights. Old Dan Sutton, he was the mechanic for the gas. They had, remember, up in the old hall at the ridge,
Yeah.
gas,
Yeah.
in the back of the hall there. And they had that down to 3 Mile. Gas, light the gas
Right.
at night. Oh yeah.
Right.
Mm. And the card room was boarded, as I say, with the cases. They got any big cases, they lay the boards down, and that was the boarded floor, they called it. Well, I mean, it was all right.
That's right. And where was the school at, Bob?
Oh, going down towards Waterford.
Waterford.
Mm.
And the hall, where was the hall?
Hall was out here, up here in the scrub
Oh,
somewhere.
really?
Yeah, the hall, yeah. We had photographs of all that, you know.
I know, they're all
Yeah,
bloody
it all
gone,
got ruined with the white
Shame.
ants. Yeah,
Shame.
yeah. Oh, they had a hall and school, 2 boarding houses.
That's right. Who was the boarding house?
Kirk,
Was it Bob Kirk?
Kirk, yeah,
And who?
Kirk, and McNally's.
No, that's right. That's the
That
one.
was the woman in the revolver claim.
Revolved for the slap leather.
Yeah, she slapped leather. One of her boys was working with a bloke or a couple of blokes or something, and
Yeah.
there was some argument, and she went up. She slapped leather and put them off, drew on them.
I remember Dad telling me about
Yeah,
that.
she did that revolver claim.
She moved them.
Yeah, she shifted them. I don't know whether she had it loaded or not, perhaps not. That's how it's got the name of the revolver claim. Stuck
Now,
to it too.
The post office, Bob. When you were working in the post office up in the ridge there, your apprenticeship job was one of the jobs was to tie a bag up named Nettleton Post Office. Now let's clear this up. Now didn't you put, what was the tag on the Nettleton Post Office that you used to put in? Was that cardboard or
Yeah.
was it made of? Didn't you have a tag to put on round the...
Yes, in a little tin,
Yeah, describe that, Bob, in detail.
in a little tin holder like
Oh, yeah.
like that. Slide her in.
What, cardboard, Bob?
Bit of cardboard.
Was it?
Mm, yeah.
But who used to write Nettleton on that? Was that already written?
No, we used to write it
Oh,
on.
you used to write it
Oh
on?
yeah. All the bale bags going to Gadooga and Angledoodle and all that, we'd do that.
Oh,
Put
yeah.
them in the things and time on, and
Oh, I see.
Gadooga or Angledoodle post office and all that.
And
Yeah.
who was postmaster when you were there in the post?
Kirkland.
Kirkland.
Yeah, Scotsman.
Now, in your opinion, why do you think that this was named Nettleton? Now,
Well-
we've both got our ideas about that, but
Well, I don't only this idea of wherever they got it from. Charlie Nettleton.
Yeah.
They had it there. That was pretty early in the piece, and I don't know. That was the idea, named after him. But he was a phantom.
you never met him, Bob.
And no one else did. No, I can't understand that
It's
at all.
strange. Look, we've got to be honest
Yeah.
about this. It's strange why that no one seems to have met the man, but yet the government seems to have allowed his name to be named for the post office.
Yeah, that's right.
It seems inexplicable.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was Nettleton here when I was in the post office, just after I left school.
Yeah.
See? So I don't know where it come from.
And you never met him,
But
Bob.
no, and I never met anyone that met him.
Well, just briefly, the time that you were when the Bruce was at the shop in Morella Street up there in 1930 to 45, didn't you have a pretty constant job down here with the old whipper, taking the groceries around?
Yeah.
Well, in 1937, Stuart Lloyd states in his book that Nettleton lived on the Western Fall. Now,
Yeah, well,
that was in the thick of your run down here.
That's right. That's right. I used to come 3 times a week, and I never heard anyone mention his name. I never heard anyone that had met him. His name wasn't mentioned, and he was still supposed to be
On the
here.
west, but yet you knew everyone else though.
I knew everyone else. Oh yeah, but I never heard anyone talk about him. And
Strange.
if he'd have been here, the first thing they'd have said to you, "Oh, have you saw Charlie
Well,
Nettleton?"
naturally, yeah.
Anyone would say that
That's supposed to
because his name was a household
Word. Yeah,
word.
That's right.
Everyone knew about it. See?
Well, if he's supposed to discover the ridge, they say, well, look,
Well,
Bob, have you seen old Charlie?
Well, therefore, it looks like a phantom, doesn't it?
It's strange. With all sincerity, it's hard to explain it. Why that this man, with people today, see even Molly Cabara or Molly Darby, as we know, have said with Len the other day in Gosford with the interview, when Len mentioned it, about Charlie Nettleton, Molly said I'd never heard of the name.
No.
Now Molly
never
came here in
there.
1917
Yeah.
and left in 27.
Yeah.
Well, now why didn't she hear of it?
Well, there you are.
And just to be brief, I remember asking Dad, and I put this in the book, that in the kitchen there one time I asked him 2 specific questions. Who sank the first shaft and who discovered the ridge? And on Dad's answers on both, he said, the first shaft, mate, he said, no one can tell where or who sunk it. I said, Dad, did you ever meet Charlie Nettleton? He said, I've heard of the name, I've never met the man.
No. That comes from everyone.
And that was about 12 months before he died, Bob.
Yeah.
So that's strange that no one today seems to have known the man. Anyhow, let's
No.
get away from old Net. The rest of the town, what does that consist of? Just bark huts, Bob?
Yeah, mostly bark.
Bark huts. Any tents?
Oh, a lot of tents.
A lot of tents.
Oh, yeah, a lot of tents. Yeah.
And but the rest of the business section, though, was there any other businesses besides general stores, like the baker shop, etc.? Any billiard rooms down here, Bob?
No,
No
no
billiard
billiard rooms. No. No billiards. All had 2 or 3 card rooms, that's all they had, like playing cards, but nothing else. Just play a bit of cricket
Did you?
down the flat
down
there.
the
They
flat
had cricket and football.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They had
yeah,
a football team.
they had a good football team, I believe.
Did
They
they?
went as far as Gunnedah before they got beaten,
Did they?
so I believe, yeah. See, there are a lot of men here, all sorts.
Oh, well, that's your all miners, Bob.
All sorts, see, and the pick, perhaps you could have anything.
That's right.
There was one good tennis player here, DeLorry. He was a college bloke,
I've heard you mention
and he
him.
could play too.
They had a club down here, Bob, didn't they?
He had tennis courts
Did
here
they?
down near Waterwoods.
Waterwoods.
Oh yeah.
And they used to
yeah.
play the Ridge.
Yeah, yeah.
different teams.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
This DeLorry, he was pretty good too.
Was he?
My word, he was. Oh yeah. He was with Ernie Sherman. They lived there just in front of Auckland's store across the road. Yeah. Yeah.
Bob, now all the camps were just behind us and down on the left-hand side. Now this road, as we see going down here, the dumps come right up to the edge of it. It must be somewhere in the vicinity of the original road that went down here.
Yeah, it is, Len. This is the main road, the main track.
Still in the same spot.
Yeah.
Just the dumps all come in on the right-hand side, don't they?
That's right. That's right. Nothing on the left. All
Nothing on the left.
Stores.
Yeah, all this on the left, as we can see on the film now, this has only happened since I've been here in the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. All this is all new.
It's all new.
It never looked like this. No.
Now on the other side here, where these dumps are, where all the workings come down to the road, Bob, there must have been one or two famous claims in amongst all this.
Oh yes, there was too, Len, but you never heard of them. See?
Yeah.
You wouldn't hear them them days. It was somewhere about in here. See, what he always had the store on the corner there. Well, he was working with some old bloke just across here. That's where he got crippled with a bag of dirt. The old bloke landed on the bucket, fumbled somehow, and it went down. And what he had his hip like under the. He wasn't quite under the roof, and it hit him on the hip like that. Crippled him.
Oh, that's where it was in here. I thought
in
it was
here
up on top of the
somewhere.
hill.
No, somewhere across here, just out in front of the store. Yeah, and he always dragged his leg like that, and he wasn't very old either when that happened. But I seen him there one day. All the stores they used to get, he used to come by bullock teams.
Did they?
2 and 3 bullock teams. And one day we were up with kids, you know, we'd always follow them up, bullocks and that, and looking at them. And one day he got 6 tons of sugar alone.
Who was the bullocky, Bob? I meant to.
Oh, I don't know, Peter. I don't know who they were.
You said Harry Giles.
Oh, I don't think so.
Wasn't
No, it wasn't him, I don't think. But we used to go down the flat and talk to them. They used to come down the flat there after they unloaded, and when they'd pull in first and all that sort of thing. And I remember one night we went down talking to them, and they were just about to have tea, and they just went and broke one of the cases, got a tin of herrings and tomato sauce each, opened him up and had tea.
Well, just took him off the...
took him out of the case. Yeah.
Fancy 6 ton though on...
6 tons of sugar.
Oh, just sugar?
Just sugar alone. Them, what are they, 70-pound bags or something? Remember the sugar?
Nice.
About 32 to the ton. Yeah. Well, what he carried all them in on his own.
I'll be buggered.
Yeah, that's like 40 got out there.
He must have been a great old slave.
He wasn't very old then. Oh no.
I suppose look over.
Hey Bob, coming back to the township here, what do you think made it die out here?
The 3 Mile?
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't know, Len. You know, it's like all other, like the gold rushes and all that.
Yes.
They boomed, see, and then just suddenly disappeared, didn't they?
Yeah.
But, see, they done a lot of work here on the 3 Mile. All this that you can see now, that was all done then, you know.
Yeah.
They done a lot of work
You don't
even
forget,
when...
see in this area here, see 3,000 men. Well, they've got to work it out in over a few years, haven't they? Or give it a shake.
They do a lot of work, shift a lot of dirt.
Strike
Yeah.
around.
Well, what was I going to say?
Roughly when would it have died, Bob, the town, the 3 Mile town? You moved up in 1916, didn't you?
Yeah.
Bruce's?
Yeah, well, it was pretty quiet then.
That was quietening down then in 16.
I've seen photos taken in the 20s though.
What, of here, the 3 Mile?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there were still a few here, living here.
How many do you reckon would have been here then, though, going by the photographs?
Oh, I don't know. It's very, you can't tell from a photograph, but I
No.
mean the activity was still here in the 20s.
Was it?
In some form, yes.
Yeah, there was still a lot here. They used to visit the town and all that. See, the stores went. The stores went.
They moved up to town.
They moved, yes. The orphanages went up there. Waddy Wars went up there. And the stores all went. And there was a bloke, a Chinaman from Angledoodle, he opened the store,
right.
Joe Chargow.
That's right,
Here.
yeah.
There was 5 or 6 stores there.
And didn't Far buy one of the boarding houses and pull it down
Yeah,
and take it
that's
up there?
right.
Yeah.
Kirk's.
Kirk
Yeah,
boarding house.
that's right.
And when did the post office close up, Bob?
Ooh.
Approximately.
I don't know, I wouldn't say for sure.
Was they still going, Bob, when you left the post office in 18?
Oh yes.
They're still going
Oh
then?
yes.
So therefore it's up into the 20s then?
Yeah,
it must have
we
been.
go into the 20s,
Yeah.
yeah. But see, what he was shifted up into the town there, Molly Cabaran come here in, what she say, 1917.
17.
Well, she was looking after his stores. He had a little store across the road near the billiard room.
See, Waddy must have moved up then, yeah?
He must have moved up pretty early.
Yeah.
And Hawkins were up near the Dooley. They shifted
That's
up and then had another store up there.
That's right.
Yeah. And,
What about Prentice with the butcher shop? Well, he opened early up there, didn't he?
oh yeah, early.
Back in 6.
Yeah, Wynette in front,
That's right.
dirt floor.
Bob,
Yeah.
approximately what years did this 3 Mile Flat open up here?
Oh, like it'd be, well, when we come here, it was all, they were on top of the, on shooting, blasting on top of the 3
That's
Mile
what
Hill.
Dad
Were
told
they?
me,
Yeah, when we come here. He goes, Far pulled up there, he camped up on top of the hill, and he had a shift.
Well, old Doug
There was
McCracken told me...
sandstone flying all
Right.
around you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like war, you'd think a war was on.
That's it,
Well,
yeah.
they were on top of the hill then.
Yeah.
All this was done.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
old Doug McCracken told me 1907, but I didn't know whether to believe him or not.
What,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that'll be early 7, yeah.
1907?
Yeah, that's what old
yeah.
Doug said, but
Yeah.
he was hard to believe.
I know.
But then
well,
again, well, see, Dad always told me
that'll be right too.
that when
What about it?
the Bruces come here and about, well, what I work it out from his birthday, he had his birthday at you residing in September.
Yeah,
Now, Dad would have turned what? He was born in 1904, so that would have been 1908, he'd have been 4-year-old.
somewhere about that.
So if he had his birthday at you residing when he met Bedell there, in around about the latter end of 1908,
Yeah,
well, this, as you say, when they come over then, the 3 Mile, Dad always said they'd taken the 3 Mile at a hill then, at a face then.
yeah,
3
they
Mile
were,
hill.
they're right, they were on top of the hill.
They were working it up as a face, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 1908. We'll see how far back could it have started from
Yeah,
then.
well,
though?
they must have
12
been here
months?
pretty early because this was all done, this flat,
All this was worked
this-
out then,
this-
Bob.
pretty well. The flat and the
Well,
gully.
gee, they must have been going for what, 80
And
months?
it was just like the full width there, like it is there now. They've done all that and they were up on the 3 Mile Hill.
Yeah, well, I'll say Doug wouldn't be far out.
He wouldn't be far
No,
out.
that's for sure.
No.
Doug said he was here when it opened up. That's what he told me.
Yeah, well, there must have been a lot of men here early too.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you'd never know. Bob.
No.
See, 3,000 work on the 3 Mile alone.
I know.
So it was a big town before we even got here.
That's right. And then there were, a lot of them was married and then their families.
That's exactly.
I tell you, there's a lot of people
See, we're
down
saying
here.
today, Bob, they're moving in and out all the time.
That's right. Yeah, mining towns fluctuate.
Yeah, exactly.
Up and down they are.
And then there was Old Town. So that
Old
was in
Town,
full swing
that
before
was
you come here.
before this.
That's exactly.
There was a mob up there, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real early. I tell you, there must have been a lot of people here
Oh, this
when
is...
it kicked off.
But
Well,
see,
these camps must have went a long way back into the bush behind you,
Oh,
Bob.
they did, Len. Oh, yeah, you could hear them and see smoke here, like in the scrub there, like it's something like it is now. It wasn't as high as this,
Yeah.
more low scrub. And there was hundreds of
all
them
the
camped in
campfires,
there,
Bob, yeah.
pads all through it.
All through.
Yeah,
And your camp was way down where Lawn Station is
yeah,
now.
that's where we camped. But we were camped there on far bottom on Opal.
Oh, yeah.
Mm. Had a camp there in a big bare shed, and mostly tents people
Was
lived
that-
in there.
did
Tents, yeah, for in the early part of it,
Go on.
yeah. And then they got a lot of bark huts,
Bark huts, yeah.
terrible lot of bark huts.
Many corrugated iron huts, Bob?
Not many.
Not many then.
No, not many. No.
They must have come later on a bit.
Yeah.
How did they look after their horses, Bob?
Well-
There were so many horses around.
Oh, we'll just let them go here. It was all open to miners.
Yeah.
It was for the miners, see,
That's right.
mining reserve.
Yeah.
Oh yes, no worry. There was always. I see it here one time. The crowfoot, that eye.
Go on.
That eye, all over here and out, everywhere he went. Yeah, it was easy, 3 foot eye. I've never saw it like it since.
And where would they get the water, Bob, from to water themselves? Well, we spoke about that, but what are the horses?
Well, mostly out of the holes.
Out of the holes.
Oh yes. We lived in 2 or 3 places around the 3 Mile, and Far always had a couple of horses. But he'd have a big a drum cut down that eye and pull the water up for the horses.
All the time.
They'd go away and feed, and they'd come back to the foal. And goats, they all had
Well,
goats.
that's goats, that's right.
Water them out of the holes
Yeah.
when they got going. Because those days it rained pretty often.
Did it?
It was not like it is now. You always got rain though. I can't make it out. There was no problem with water at all.
No, none at all, Bob.
None at all. No. In fact, more than they got now.
Funny thing, the seasons have changed.
Ain't they? It seemed to be all the rain in that time though. Yeah.
Bob Bishop's claim, Bob? Do you know anything about that?
I only heard about it, Ted, over here somewhere it was.
Yeah, it was up off the town.
Yeah, on the back of this workings, out going up onto the ridge. I've heard a lot about it. I don't know. He was pretty early, like he was on the job pretty early, and I don't know anything about it. I've heard a lot about it though.
Yeah, I was talking to old Bob. I got a tape of him actually. I interviewed him when I come up here as a tourist, and he said he come here when he was 17 years of age, and he worked on Sims Hill at the first rush.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting tape. I'll let you listen to it someday, Bob, if you want to.
Oh yeah. Is that was the bloke that had the claim here?
Yeah, him and his dad.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
They come from Walgett. His dad had a property, I think, at Walgett.
Yeah?
And they come out here, I'm not sure the year, 1904 or something. It was early anyway.
Ah.
Before Newtown, before the old town had even started.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting interview.
He'd be here early then.
Yeah.
Oh, he must have been.
Now.
Okay, now we're moved along the 3 Mile Flat a little bit and we're down near Boodle's camp. I suppose you knew him pretty well, Bob, over the years?
Yes. A good many years, Glenn.
Where was it when you first met him, Bob?
Well, Fa met him at Uri when he was here.
That's right.
That's when he first heard of the ridge.
Boodle be a young strapping bloke in those days.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He'd be in his early 30s.
Early
20 and 30, yeah.
I bet he never drank or smoked.
Probably not, no. Oh no. But I never met him then, like we were only kids, see. Wouldn't remember him if you had him,
No.
perhaps. But then when we come here, I never met him then for years and years after. No.
Well, he must have been out in the sheds a lot.
He
though,
was
Bob.
shearing all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Tell you a lot of yarns about the opal he got at the Chum and all that.
Yeah.
Dishfuls too, like turners.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, I think he used to manufacture a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I reckon he was down here very early in the part though, Bob.
Well, he could have been.
Yeah, Dad told me he was here all around about 5, long before the 3 Mile broke out.
He could have
And
been.
the camp was the same place.
Yeah.
So that goes back a long time. that
Yeah.
camp. And Dad always told me that he got a bit of opal around the camp.
Mm.
And basically that led up to the great rush of the 3 Mile.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where Kirk's boarding house is up the top of that.
Oh, up above that, Bob,
Mm.
was it?
That's the place I was telling you about here.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
we looked at it and it was all pegged one day.
But during the great rush of the 3 Mile, I suppose, and all over the years, see, Boodle would have spent a lot of his time in the sheds, though, wouldn't he?
I'd
What
reckon.
about describing Boodle to us?
Oh, gee.
He was a tall man, that much I do know.
Tall, not
Yeah.
extra Glenn. No, he wasn't very tall. Oh,
What, he been 5, 10, 11?
oh, he'd be flat out.
Would he?
Oh, yeah, flat out.
In his young days, Bob, roughly as far as back as you can go, what is he, a rowdy bloke or a quiet bloke or?
Oh, I know, ordinary. No,
Ordinary.
nothing out of the way.
Yeah.
No, nothing out of the way.
Well, about Tommy White, Bob, what do you know about him? Wasn't he the
Well-
first bloke that had the...
I knew him, was supposed to know him like before he came here. He was a good athlete, runner and jumper
Was
in
he?
his young days, I believe, yeah. Well, he built the first paddler over there, the horse idea,
Oh,
in the race, pulling around. It was there for a long time. I see it was gone the last time we were there looking at it there one day, all pulled down. But he was the first paddler man.
And what did it consist of, Bob, the puddle itself?
It was only a race about that wide, circular,
Oh, yeah.
and a pole across, and arrows down into the trench, and a horse.
Yeah. Oh,
Horse pulled it
horse
round,
pulled him around.
like
Oh.
some old time pumped out on the government tank up here.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. Horse pulled it round all day.
And where do you get the
But-
water from?
There,
Yeah.
there was plenty of water
Oh,
there
plenty of
now.
water in the holes, were there?
Oh, Kirk's water hole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, plenty of water. And he got all the pick of the dumps up here on the 3
That's
Mile
what I was
Hill.
going to say. Where do you get the dough
Old
from?
Boodle showed him. He showed him to him. He was here then, see? He pointed it out, and all the good claims, he raked them up and screened them on the job up there. And
How do you get it down here?
horse
The old
and
yoke?
cart. Horse and
Oh,
cart.
horse and cart.
Yeah, he had a little cart, yeah. But there was another bloke, they called him the Yank. He started one then, a puddler. He built one here, somewhere around here, or over in near the gully. No, it was down here, because Now he used to cart the dirt down 2 kerosene tins on a yoke across his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
He was keen. Right from a few hundred yards, he used to cart it down with 2 kerosene tins,
Yeah.
4-gallon tins on a yoke. And wasn't long after, and he had a horse and cart.
Did he?
Must have got an hobby or two, see? Yeah, he got a horse and cart next. Oh yeah, he was doing it in style.
Was he?
Only
Tom-
little carts.
Yeah.
I mean, better than the idea he had,
That's
though.
right.
Yeah.
And Tommy White,
And-
Bob, did he have a partner or was he on his own?
No, he had his boy with him.
Oh, he's only his boy?
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
He must have got a lot of good opal.
Must have done.
He disappeared like that.
Did he?
Mm.
Bob?
Like a shadow.
Yes, well that fills in a story that Mrs. Hands told me through her son, Bob. They were here, she said, at one stage working with White on a horse puddler, and they got some opal, and he went away to sell it and he never ever come back.
Oh,
That sounds very much like what you said.
that could be right. And who's the woman? She's still here?
No, she lives in Brisbane now. Her name was Hands, Hands.
Yeah? I didn't know her. That could be right.
Yeah, it was her husband. I know her son.
Oh,
And she wrote a letter, or the son wrote a letter to me not long ago explaining it to me, and what you said was precisely the same as she said in the letter.
yeah, well that's the way he disappeared, like a shadow.
Very overnight, Bob.
Never heard of him, no day to this.
Yeah?
So that could be right,
That's
see?
possible, yeah.
That could fill in,
Yeah.
yeah. He was, he'd be the type of bloke to do it too, I'd reckon.
What was his character like, Bob?
Oh, could talk on anything.
Yeah?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
he shifty or did he give the impression that he was honest?
I'd
or?
say shifty. Yeah. Well, that looks like what Len just said. I'd say you wouldn't trust him. No,
Yeah?
no.
But a
He
good
was-
talker.
Oh, good talker.
Was he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a good athlete, far reckons. Runner and jumper.
Was he?
Yeah.
What,
Oh,
tall
yeah.
bloke, thin bloke, Bob?
Oh, just ordinary
Ordinary.
build. Yeah,
Mhm.
ordinary.
Middle-aged bloke, young bloke?
He was, be middle-aged then.
Would he?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I've heard far talk about him. He knew him in his early days. Not here, but somewhere else,
Oh, yeah.
around Cobar or somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And he often talked about him. He was a pretty smart bloke.
And where did he camp here in 3 Mile, Bob? What part?
We lived here, just over the gutter here. They had a house there.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where the Chinaman from Angledoodle, he started a store here.
Oh,
Joe Shargow.
Joe Cargow.
He had a store here somewhere around near this gutter.
Oh, yeah.
And Hawkins was just up there on the bend. We come down.
Uh-huh.
And the other 3 or 4 stores are all on the left. But there was never a pick put in the ground there. They got it all ruined now. Out the other way, you can't tell one place from
Well,
another.
the country must have fallen out here, Bob. Like typical shallow country, I suppose. All the work was up on the top of the road there, wasn't it? The top, the other side of the street.
It was all on the right-hand side of the road as you come
you
down.
come in, yeah.
There wasn't a hole on this side.
But why would that be?
I don't know. Seemed a funny thing.
It did.
It's like the cleared line. The road cut level off.
Yeah, that is
Same bloody
weird.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Divided
But that out there, that was all level country, not a mark on it.
Oh, yeah.
And now, though, the scrub's taking charge of it again like it was in early days, see?
That's right.
Stick it now, never. But the mob that was here, of course, they used the bushes for bough sheds, and
Yeah.
all up here for all the holes they sank for windlass was logging up.
Yeah, that's right.
Logging up, see, they cut all the scrub down,
That's right.
and they had it all trimmed up. But you could see for bloody hundreds of yards round,
Oh, yeah.
not like it is now. It's all going back
Well,
now.
she's going back to the original position.
That's
Bob,
right, what it was,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, nature's taken charge again.
It has.
Yeah. Absolutely ruined it is, as we knew it as a 3 Mile.
It's changed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This Yank that was also water puddling, do you know where he came from? Anything about him at all?
No, I don't know. Nothing at all then, only they call him the Yank.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard him mentioned before.
Yeah. I don't even know his name.
He was a Yank though, Bob, was he?
They reckon he was a Yank, yeah. Could have been. Well, I mean, you don't take much notice of him, you know. I mean, now you know the way they talk.
That's right.
For them days, we didn't know
We
any
would-
different from the bloody Australian.
That's right.
No. But they call him the Yank. I don't know what he was.
Whereabouts was the school out here, Bob?
Down towards Waterwoods, Len. They down there over the little... That Kirk's boarding house was up there, the other side of the workings there.
Yes.
And the school was just going down onto the flat. And the hall was out here. in the scrub there. Oh, not far over there.
How many
All.
kids going to school, Bob, here when you were here?
Oh, over 200.
Hey?
Over 200.
Kids?
Oh, yes. Oh, we had a photo of them. That was one of the...
Tell us when.
We're back on the job again. Now we've replaced the battery.
Right, you ready? Now the school, Bob, where was the school at?
Straight over here, going towards Waterford.
Well, we've just been through that. We're
Have
up
we?
to how many kids were there?
Right, now, to try and to vindicate what I put in the book, how many kids were in the school here when you were going down here? You say?
Well, what I just told you.
200.
I'd say 200 or more.
Or more.
Oh, yes,
You
yes.
said the school wasn't even big enough, Bob, to
No,
hold.
no. It was fairly big, it'd be 30 by 20.
Would it?
It held a few kids and was far too small.
Was he?
Oh,
And what material was it built out of, Bob? Weatherboard or?
yeah, I think it was.
Was
It was built later than what in the real early days when we come here. Well, oh no, it was built not long after
It
we
must be
come here
pretty-
because that's where I started school
right.
over here. Yeah,
That's right.
that's where I first started.
Well, I've got down
Didn't
there,
I?
for the book, I've got down about mid-1909.
That's be right. That's near
The
enough.
book, yeah.
Near enough.
Now,
yeah.
did it have a dirt floor, Bob, or a
A
wooden
dirt floor?
Dirt floor.
No, dirt. I remember
That's
that.
what you told me, yeah.
Yeah.
And the roof would be what, corrugated iron?
Oh, yeah.
Now, the first teacher, didn't you tell me the other
Yeah.
one time that it was Gibson?
That's right.
Tommy Gibson?
Tommy Gibson.
What did your impression of him?
Very good.
Was he?
My word, he was. Yeah, between 20 and 30, he was. Early 20s.
Was he?
He nice little bloke. He used to board at Kirk's boarding house.
That's right,
Yeah.
you told me that.
Yeah.
Now, didn't you used to write something in your book, your school book or something, Bob, if you tried hard as far as your education is concerned, if you, with your homework?
Oh, yeah, he always mark it.
Mark it.
Very good, extra good, all that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too good, fair, very fair, and he'd mark them already.
He gave you incentive, yeah.
Oh, he very good he was. Always got homework.
Didn't he?
Oh, we used to love it too. Homework books.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Well, he must have
word.
been a good teacher.
He was good.
Yeah.
My word, he was.
Really felt for the kids.
He was. Nice little bloke too, he was.
Only the one teacher, Bob, or
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah, well, see, I didn't go here long. Then I finished up here uptown,
Up in town.
and from there I went into the post office.
Oh,
I got a job in the post office,
That's
telegraph messenger.
uh-huh.
And I was there 4 years. And when I became 18, I had to take a shift or leave the service.
Oh, yeah.
And Far took me out to shearing sheds. And I had learnt the Morse code, and I got up to relieving telegraphist. Relieving telegraphist, yeah.
You must have been pretty proficient.
Yeah, it was. And Pa took me out to bloody shearing sheds.
That's a good job, yeah.
Mm.
Lovely.
Can I cut the conversation and bring you back to the schools? Now, we know approximately the number of children here at 1909, but today is 1983. Now, at Lightning Ridge, Gan, how many kids are in here now?
Well,
For the
there's
record.
242 when I checked up with the latest flash. That's primary school kids, 242, and there's 96 when I checked with Max Fuller that leave the Ridge to go to Walgett High School.
Every
Mm.
day.
Every 5 days a week, yeah.
How far is that return trip for them kids a day?
In excess of 100 miles, which is ridiculous because I think we should have a secondary school out here. Very
Reckon
much so, yeah. That's
Wouldn't you?
ridiculous. Going all that way and this bloody ridiculous daylight saving. That's even worse on the country kids again.
Well, look what they done at the 3 Mile in the early days. They taught all them kids
Well, there you are.
in the
yeah.
early days.
In the early
here.
days,
and
Bob,
they had
yeah.
no buses running then.
That's right.
No,
And they still taught them here?
that's right. And they learned too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's right.
my word. Yeah.
Well, we better talk about the boarding houses before we leave here, Robert.
Yeah. Yes.
Two here, Bob, wasn't there?
2 boarding houses just over here. Kirk's. Bob Kirk, he was the character, the wit of the place. And Mrs. McNally, the one that was in the revolver claim incident.
Now, Bob, getting back to, hang on, mate, getting back to the Kirk's boarding house, what did it consist of, the building itself?
Oh, big, mostly corrugated iron.
Corrugated
yeah.
iron. What, a fair area, Bob?
Oh, big.
Wasn't it?
Oh, very big, and a bow shed veranda. Oh, about 40 by 30 out in front, and a lot of them had lodgings, and they slept there too.
Oh,
Board and
I see.
lodgings,
Yeah.
15 shillings a week.
A week, not a night.
No, board and lodgings, 15 shillings a week.
A week.
Another one was the same.
Same thing.
McNally's, there was a family they were, And they were the same.
Same. But the Kirk's boarding house, Bob, was a round timber, I suppose, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be round timber.
Round timber. Wasn't lined or sealed?
Oh no. Oh.
What about the floor? Dirt floor?
Dirt floor.
Was it?
That was the trend. All dirt floors.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd the dogs sleep, inside or outside?
Well, I think to please herself, Len, the dogs, it was open go for anything.
And Mr. McNally's, Bob, was that similar? The
Same,
construction of
yeah,
the building?
Yeah, rough turnout.
Rough.
Mm.
But like the corrugated iron or bark? Or...
Yeah, something, whatever they could get. Yeah, there were a lot of bark places,
Yeah.
bark roofs, a lot of them.
Were they?
Oh yeah,
Dirt floors, Bob?
they were all dirt
All
floors.
dirt floors.
I don't remember any place here that was boarded in the floor. They didn't win for that at all.
No. Well, they might have put bags down, I suppose.
Put
Bob.
bags down and water
And
them.
water them.
Mm.
Yeah.
They got along all right.
Did Mr. McNally, she have like a lean-to, Bob, with a bough shed, or?
Well, I don't know, Peter. I never took much notice, see. But I remember Kirk's. It was a big barn, big place out in front.
Was it?
That was for anyone to stop there, lodging too. But fancy 15 bob a week.
15 bob a week.
You'd wonder how they done it because things were so cheap.
Yeah.
See, bread threepence a loaf and meat threepence a pound,
Threepence a pound.
and all other things.
But did they have to find themselves, Bob, or did Kirk,
Hey?
was that provided with tucker?
What?
Or did they have to buy their own tucker?
Oh no, everything.
Everything.
Everything. Meals.
Right.
Meals. Yes, board and lodging. The school teacher used to board. He was stopped there.
Oh yeah, Gibson.
Tommy Gibson.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's about it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Boarding houses, Len?
it was Bob Kirk. Bob Kirk. I don't know whether you heard this one about him. He's really practically jokey, you know. Pretty witty.
Yeah.
And uptown there, and there were the old orders on the corner there where the motel is.
Oh yeah.
He standing just inside the door, looking at the dancers. They were dancing. He was just inside the door, and a drunk stumbled into the hall and bumped into him. See, the drunk said, "Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I come into the light. I got a bit bamboozled here." "Oh, that's all right," Kirk said. "Don't worry, man. No offence." He said, "Oh, I can have a few myself. It's just nothing." And the drunk said, "Listen," he said, "I tell you, could you lay me onto a woman?" "Oh," Kirk said, "Yeah, that's no trouble." He said, "Step out here, look." This was Kirk's wife, he's pointing out. He said, "See that woman sitting down in the corner with a black dress on?" The drunk focused his eyes and he said, "Oh yes," he said, "I can see her." Well, Kirk said, "She's all right." The drunk said, "How do you know?" Well, Kirk said, "I sleep with her." It's the sort of stuff he used to put over.
There you go on.
Then go away and laugh. That's all.
Then the bloke would go up and get in the trouble.
He did, too. She upended him.
Yeah.
Pickles Graham, another one. You've heard of him?
No.
He was a shearer, and shearing someplace round here, some station, and they were telling the station manager that the shearers were coming here. One bloke, he was a very ugly bloke, you know, Pickles, had features like ape, like a monkey.
Bob,
see? Pretty witty too. Anyway, they started the shed, and the manager walked on the board. He said, "What asked some of the rouseabouts, what stand is this Pickles Graham on?" "Oh, number 6, sir. Number 6 there, Pickles Graham."
You'd heard about him, Bob, like.
He's heard about him. You want to have a look at him, see? They told him how ugly he was.
Yeah.
So he strolled down, and Pickles just letting the sheep go, see, and stood up. "Oh," he said, "I'm the manager of this outfit here." He said, "You Pickles Graham?" "That's right, sir." Oh, the manager's rocking on his heel, you know. He said, "Well," he said, "it's quite true, all I've heard about you." He said, "You are the ugliest man I've ever seen." I don't mean anything, no offence or anything. "Oh, well," Pickles said, "of course, you know," he said, "I can't help that. You see," he said, "I only had one father." He said, "Your mother had the pick of the town." He was a good one too. Hey, manager went like that. I think he's still going.